All right, hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to Comics News Today. Of course, I am Chester C. Busby III, and I am joined by Booster, the Denali Lama, Pixel Trader, and Tank Ferret. So we got some news to get into today, but of course, first thing we're going to do is talk a little bit about the Halloween show that's coming up this Wednesday on the 31st. We're going to be having that show. Probably going to be a little bit more around 9, 10 o'clock p.m. We want to let people get all their Halloween stuff done before we come on, so it'll be a little bit later. But we got a lot of stuff going on that show. We have of course, the Comics Titans fundraiser, which please everybody go over and check that out on Facebook. It's being run by Pope Fire and Eric Nienoltowski. It's a great idea, and we're going to be having that raffle on that day. They get a lot of great prizes, so make sure you get over there and get involved with that. It costs $3 for one raffle ticket and $5 for two. There's some great prizes, and of course, what's being used, and the money's already been put out. Actually, they are helping people in the community that cannot afford to get some of these books in the indie revival that's going on, and it's really a nice thing to do, and it's a great community event. So don't miss out on that. Go get involved because Halloween is right around the corner. Also, tomorrow, don't forget that on Bugbear's Basement, we will be talking about Animal Man. I believe that's number 5 from Grant Morrison. Isn't that right, Denali?
Yep. And Booster, our friendly neighborhood oceanic kiwi, has suggested it. So,
I
yay
did.
for Booster for this moment.
Yes, this is Booster's week. We are alternating weeks. So, Booster, why did you choose Animal Man?
Well, I chose it because I really wanted to see Dr. Wright's break down this one. It has very heavy religious themes. It's
Mhm.
it is postmodern, but it's 80s postmodern. It's Grant Morrison postmodern, so that's why I like it. And I believe Animal Man was one of the first comic books to really break the fourth wall, and it's not done in a funny way. It was done in a existential way.
Mhm.
So it's a messed up read, and I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh no, it definitely is a good book. Grant Morrison is quite the writer. He's quite a legend in our community, of course. And if you have a chance, go and
Well, I
read up
like
on
it,
that
and
ahead of time, so that when we do it on Tuesday, you can be part of the conversation and stuff. And of course, keep in mind that of course hitting that like button and subbing to the channel is most welcome. And thanks to all of you who come and join us and support us. We appreciate that. But one of the most important things you can do actually is to hit that share button. And I'm doing it right now, and I implore everybody else to do it as well. And this sends out to your communities, your friends and families, and lets them know what we're doing, and allows them to come here and be part of this and have fun with this. Now today we're going to do a slightly different format. We're trying something new. Let's go ahead and just ask a couple questions. Now, you guys might notice that we have someone new with us today. Hello, Tank Ferret. How you doing, man?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me, Chester.
Oh, I'm very happy to have you here. Now, Tank Ferret is a great artist. I'm sure many of you have seen his stuff. Tank, you're a really good artist, but do you have knowledge of the news, sir?
I generally don't keep up with the news except for this show, and
Oh,
this is usually my source of news and comics. I generally try to stay out of the huff and fluff and stay at work.
oh, there you go. All right. Well, hey, welcome. We're certainly happy to have you here, and of course, thank you. We have Captain Canada in the house. Hello, sir. He says kick booster. I'll happily do so.
I'll
Uh,
I'll kick him if he bloody keeps it up.
Yeah. Sierra Whiskey, hello. Greetings, sir. Is our most favorite raccoon warrior from the post-apocalyptic future. And I want to see that book come together, by the way, Sierra. We should actually work on it. I think that would be funny. Hello, Nighthawk. How you doing, man? All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into the news. And of course, keep in mind that we have all our links down below. Go to the Fanspeak Facebook page. You can also go to my Facebook, Chester C. Busby III, and send me a link saying, Chester, put me on the show, and I will do that. Okay. We also have a thing down there with Streamlabs for donations. Now, we're not doing like some of the other channels and making a living off of it. But what we want to do, if you guys are interested, we were thinking about doing giveaways, and we gave one away. Gave away the Craven's Last Hunt, and Trusty Sidekick won that, and I sent that out yesterday. So I hope he lets us know when he gets that. But if you guys want to see more giveaways going on in the channel, then go ahead and donate down to that, and we'll do that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and move on, and let's see what our first news article is today. Now, this is kind of interesting little thing coming up here, and let me go ahead and share this on with you guys as well over here up in this panel. Now, Denali, why don't you go ahead and tell us what is this article about here from comicbook.com, I guess.
So, in a recent convention that Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool's and many other Marvel favorites, somebody asked him in the audience during the Q&A saying, "Hey, can you clear up, was Deadpool based on Deathstroke?" Mm-hmm. And he said, "No, actually, I was actually basing Deadpool off of Spidey because Todd McFarlane at that time was hitting the charts with Spider-Man, and he's like, oh man, I need Spidey." And so he developed Deadpool as a Spider-Man, a Spidey with guns, and try to connect him to another favorite character, Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Canadian. It's not like afterwards that he started realizing, oh, here's the connection and all that stuff. No, but that's what he's that's what he's weighing in. But there's so many similarities about the character. I don't know. I think he was trolling the audience member.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. He responded to it. Now, while we chat about it, matter of fact, I could probably go ahead and just play that. I'll just mute it, play it in the background here. But what do you guys think about that? I mean, it's been a long-held understanding that Deadpool is a direct ripoff of Slade over at DC. What do you guys think about that? Is that you think he's just trolling him, or do you think there's truth to it? There is Mr. Liefeld himself sitting right there. What do you think, Booster, man? Is this nonsense, or is there truth to it?
I mean, visually speaking, you can definitely see the comparisons between Deadpool and Spider-Man. He's got a very similar mask and everything, and I think for the longest time before Deadpool really became a household name, first time someone looked at him, they'd think, why has Spider-Man gotten so edgy? What's happening to him? But other than just the mask appearance, I suppose, everything else about him is just Deathstroke. And what the hell is Rob Liefeld doing? He looks like a spastic.
He is an enthusiastic fella. That is for sure. I don't know. What do you?
Oh, he's having fun. He's having a good time.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it's kind of weird without this. How weird his movements are. You can just start lip reading for him. It's like, yeah, Deadpool stuff. Come in.
I mean, I could play the audio, but I figured I'd just have it silent in the background. What do you think, Tank? Is this nonsense coming out of Liefeld, or is there truth to it?
I think this is love child confirmed. Yes, there is a resemblance to Spider-Man and both Spider-Man and Deathstroke. So somewhere in a dark alley, an unholy union took place between the DC Comics character and a Marvel character.
Mm-hmm. No, I think so. Now, Pixel, I would like to ask you a question that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But if you notice over on the stream, this is working really well. Look how clean that is coming through. There's no drop rates or latencies or anything, man.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
I'm loving it, dude. And that's a live stream right through the Streamlabs, dude. Sorry about that, guys. I've been working
Sierra
on this for a while.
Yeah, Sierra Whiskey says, Rob looks like a giant fourth grader. He acts one like two.
He dresses that way as well.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's a really enthusiastic guy. He's fun. I'd love to have him on the show. And actually, Mike's working on getting him on Drawn and Quartered. That would be really cool, man.
Holy crap.
Yeah. But I mean, this isn't that much of an article, really. It's just this controversy. I don't know if it's controversy. This discussion has been going on for a long time, and I'm pretty sure that Deathstroke most certainly was part of the design by Rob. But it doesn't really matter. But it is cool. And then, of course, the interesting thing for me, I think, would be the actual question is, um, who's better, who's more popular, Deathstroke or Deadpool?
Oh.
Well, when Deadpool came out, Deathstroke was more popular, but since the decades has moved on, Deadpool has become more popular to the point that more pop reference is saying, "Hey, Deathstroke looks like Deadpool," instead of the other way around.
Well, my kids love Deadpool. I know that as far as when my house is concerned, because there was this animated movie. I don't know which one it is. You guys can help me out, but there's one in there where Deadpool is kind of introduced, and I think it's Wolverine as he's fighting him. Wolverine cuts off his arm, and
that's Hulk vs. Wolverine.
What is it called?
Hulk vs. Wolverine.
Hulk vs. Wolverine. And it's funny in there because he's flying through the air and he's saying, "That was my favorite gun," in slow motion. I just cracked my kids up. And it's like actually a meme in my household. My kids will say it every now and then. It's really funny. So yeah, Deadpool's awesome, man. All right, does anybody have any other comments that are Deadpool related before we move on to our main stories today?
My thing was just, it's Wade Wilson and Slade Wilson. I'm sorry, there's something there.
Yeah, of course there is, man.
I think the Wade Wilson name was introduced later on when the comparisons came through.
It's possible, but I would like to know when they actually named him, because I think I think you're right. They just called him Deadpool early on, but I'd have to go back and look at the first appearances and stuff. And I know they changed him to be more of a comedic character later on. He was just an assassin for the longest time.
Yeah, he was just an edgy boy, just like Deathstroke for a while, but his design was definitely Spider-Man-esque.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our main story today. This one, of course, once again, it is talking about Mark Waid and all the stir up this we've been talking about past through a few days with the lawsuit and Mark Waid and his thing. We can also take a look over here. He's up to 64,000. And of course, Ethan put up ya boy Zach, and he's up to 46 in 2 days. Look at that.
Awesome.
So this is going on, and we all know about that, and it is kind of interesting. But this article has more to do with the overall community, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through it, and then everyone's going to have some comments and opinions on it. Okay, so this says, "No, Mark Waid having a GoFundMe isn't a win for Comicsgate." And this is from John Della Rose, which is very interesting in and of itself. So I'm going to go ahead and read through it, and if you guys want to interject on any point, just go ahead and jump in on me, all right?
Yeah, that photo of Mark Waid looks like me if I got really old and let myself go.
Okay. And
so,
but you have shorter arms, right?
Absolutely. So I really got to make sure I don't turn out that way.
Okay. All right, let me go ahead and read this. Last week, Mark Waid launched a GoFundMe in conjunction with the lawsuit filed against him by Diversity in Comics. Immediately, hot takes on Twitter and YouTube appeared, slamming Mark Waid, making complete conjecture about the situation, from claiming he's broke to claims that the industry doesn't support him at all, to the fact that this is just to raise settlement money. The easy thing to do as a personality in the industry right now is to go along with the flow of these comments. The problem is the hot takes and zingers in this instance are just wrong. It's pretty standard course of action to launch a GoFundMe in a lawsuit like this, especially if someone has a sizable fan base and presence. Why? Because as a person in such a position, he can quickly and easily raise money to fund the lawsuit without having to go to his employers, without having to call on their insurance, without having to come out of pocket himself. That's a smart thing to do in this instance, and anyone in his position would do the same, including DC, who now has a GoFundMe headed by Ethan Van Sciver on the opposite side. Of course, that was up for a different reason. Anyway, in an instance, this doesn't mean a loss for the person having a GoFundMe. We can't glean anything from the potential court case on this matter. In fact, we have very few facts about what the court case is, what the details of the evidence is, or how this is going to go. What we do know is there's tremendous support for Mark Waid. In just 3 days, he raised over $60,000, as of this writing, from 1,600 backers. That's a crazy amount of money. what is it? What does it shatter the narrative of this is a consumer revolt, a political? Which is this is what I'm interested in this part of the article here, guys. On the Comicsgate side, making it difficult for Comicsgate to keep up the veneer. I've always been saying from the start that a consumer revolt isn't necessarily without the context of politics. There's hundreds of books on the shelves each week, and having a revolt to simply want more left centered leaning comics makes little to no sense. The revolt exists because right wingers were forced out of the industry and into their own thing. By the way, I think he meant to say more right centered, but that doesn't matter. What we see here is there is no unified consumer. The Indiegogos raise money for people wanting to make a political statement against the industry first and foremost. Now, the supporters of the industry want to make a statement about the folk making a statement. It's shown that we have a completely divided consumer base. Lots of people in the camp on the left, lots of people in the camp of the right. Everything is political these days. And this is just another example of the way our society is collapsing. We can't talk together anymore. Outrage culture is an extreme is at an extreme, and both sides have plenty of support for the people perceived as their champions. Now, there's more to read, but let's stop there and let's take a look at the points that I'm seeing. The fact that everybody's political, everybody's either right or left. There is no the Comicsgate isn't here simply as a consumer revolt. It's purely political. We can't keep up the veneer if we're not interested in politics, etc., etc. Now I have my opinion on this, but I want to hear what you guys have to say, and I want to hear what the chat has to say too. So why don't we go ahead and start with Denali and just everybody go ahead and give your opinions on John De La Rosa's opinions of Comicsgate.
Well, I didn't come in for the political, whether it was right wing or left wing. What I saw in the current comic book storytelling is that it was just propaganda. It was not a story. It was just propaganda with illustrations. And I came into comic books to have an adventure, to escape the reality, and to be inspired with good storytelling. And the comic book industry was not giving me that. I didn't support Breitweiser or even Van Sciver or the other indie artists that are Indiegogo for, their political leanings. I supported them because I'm putting a chance on them that they're going to give me a good story with good art or awesome arts in some cases. And that's the only thing going for there. Anything else that comes from that, that's inferred by their own beliefs and their own thoughts. But for me, myself, I didn't come in this for the politics. I came in for the good stories.
Here. I agree. But there's certainly a the article does go on to just simply say that money is being taken away from the Indiegogos because it's being put into the GoFundMe stuff. But that's the essence of the article, which I started reading. So, Booster, why don't you go ahead, man? I know you get an opinion.
Oh, absolutely. For starters, I just want to say, with respect to John De La Rose, I may not be his biggest fan, but he's been very good to a friend of mine, so he's right by me. But I think making this a left versus right issue is simplifying it far too much, because we're in a very different stage of this culture war these days. I think our battle lines have been absolutely realigned. It's no longer left versus right. It's these progressive socialist types versus everyone else. Everyone else. That's why we're calling them NPCs. It's because they are so politically homogenized that they all talk the same way, think the same way, and behave the same way. That's why we call them NPCs and call them mindless drones. They are all exactly the bloody same. Well, we are so damn divided politically, but we're in the same. We're all on the same side of the same cause because we're sick of these NPC types. But we're all sorts. We have right people. We have sense people. We have lefties. I'm sure. On our side, we're all over the bloody place politically. Me personally, I'm somewhere around the center left. I don't know for sure. So I think just making this a left versus right issue is I don't think it gives us justice at all.
Well, what do you think about the insinuation that you're just as political as they are? Is what he's inferring, right?
Yeah. It's true to a degree, I suppose, because while we want politics out of this shit, we can't help but get political to engage with them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's just the simple reality of it.
I'm waiting for Pixel to put coins in a glass, by the way. Swear
I
jar.
didn't swear that.
Yeah.
I don't have my glass nearby, so we'll just cha-ching.
Chi-chi, thank you.
I didn't swear.
Yes, you did.
He
It
said,
doesn't matter. It's
out of
okay,
this-
dude. I'm just
yeah.
joking. It doesn't matter at all. Continue.
No, that's about it.
Womp,
That's all
womp,
I got.
womp.
What about you, Tank? What do you think about this? That politics is on both sides equally, and everyone is in here for politics, and the politics is tearing everything apart and destroying it, and Comicsgate itself is just as troublesomely political as those we call our enemy. What do you think about that, Tank?
That's ridiculous, and it comes from I see this. I see this a lot. They see people see an element within a group, and then immediately just apply that as a broad label to the entire group. All Antifa are bad because Black Bloc is a part of it, attaches himself to Antifa. All Republicans are bad because the Proud Boys attach themselves to the Republicans, and it's disgusting. I just want to make good stories and entertain folks and provide for my family. I did not come here for the politics. I came here for the breadsticks.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah.
Or the garlic rolls. Those are good.
Goodness gracious, yeah.
Sold.
Breadstick garlic rolls. Okay, we'll go with garlic rolls. They are better. You're right. Yeah, I love those ones. But anyway, go ahead, Denali.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think there are progressives on both sides of the aisle, and we see that quite often. You know, you say this, I say this, but in the end, we're like, dudes, guys, fellas, gals, whatever. We're here for comics. We're here to tell a good story. What happened to telling a proper story, to giving the acts, to, you know, engaging with the characters that draws us in? You're so busy trying to push that you're right, that you're losing sight of, you know, why you're in this, why you guys are fighting in the first place. At the end of the story, if you remove everything, remove the veneer of everything at the baseline, you want to tell a good story that, you know, speaks to yourself and to others. Unfortunately, the method and execution is poor, and when people are providing feedbacks to that, and you know, unfortunately, there are those individuals, there are those who trolls, who says unpleasant things instead of constructive criticism to improve. That, you know, like how Tank Fair has been saying, you put it all over one group, so to speak. And it's kind of sad to say the least, but the more that the more of us that, you know, like Booster's been saying, that there's those extremists and there's the rest of us. Well, the rest of us needs to kind of speak up and be the adults here, because the extremists on either sides has been taking advantage of our silence because we don't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. You know, we're just like, we just want to get along and, you know, have barbecue with you guys. Yep. You know, I like going to my Republicans friends and having good barbecue. I like going to my left side's friend and, you know, helping the community kind of deal. You know, I enjoy different types of people. I hate being labeled one thing. I hate being grouped in one thing. You know, that diminish us, that dehumanize us when they see, oh, you're a check mark, you're this gender, you're this race, you're this thing. And at the point of it is, no, we're human beings. We have our own complex. emotion, our own agencies. Do not take that away from me just to fuel your own ideologues, your own political narratives. Don't do that. That's what we are saying. Keep the politics out of it. Give us a good story, And if you tell us a good story and you respect us as consumers, as fans, as people, then we'll return that back to you. And that's all we're asking.
Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste. Can I just say how much I hate the term everything is political? It actually just hate it.
Yeah, that's what irked me. That's why I want to talk about it. But we will be going over the chat. You guys have opinions. We're going to read those. But first, we want to get Pixel's opinion on this.
And Sierra Whiskey, not saying that left doesn't like barbecue. We just don't like cooking it. We just like eating it.
Oh, there you go.
I like a good barbecue. That might be a Kiwi thing, though.
I thought you were all about the pie. Pixel, go ahead, man.
Yeah, probably, what was it, 2 years ago? I guess it's been 2 years, about 2.5 years, when the election was going on and people started going at each other's throats. Everything was just blowing up. I disabled my Facebook. I was tired of it. I didn't care to hear what either side had to say about each other because I was just getting sick of it. And unfortunately, it continues. There's so much going on where people have just been manipulated, I think, by media, by their friends. Sometimes they don't even realize that they're actually being manipulated. But, especially with Facebook and social media in general, it's been shown that you wind up in an echo chamber. Mm-hmm. You go and you like certain types of articles and certain types of information. Those advertisers pay to be able to be put in front of you. And so your political views and the things that spin you up, you're just going to get force-fed more and more of that. And so you wind up in a situation where you literally are just getting yourself wound up, yelling at a wall about whatever political situation is driving you nuts. And if you were just to step back, unplug, and go talk to your neighbor instead of shouting at him on the internet, maybe you'd have a little more simple life. Maybe you wouldn't have to fight with each other all the time. Me, personally, I've got my own political views. I don't sit there and espouse them to everybody around me. I don't need to do that. I know my neighbor. He's a good guy. We hang out. That's fine. That's all I need. And so it's the same thing on the internet. I don't want to deal with the political side of things. I can understand where John's coming from, especially since he is right in the middle of a political situation. Mm-hmm. But we're not everybody, and he's not everybody. And I think he needs to kind of step back and reevaluate a little bit.
Yeah. I agree. I'll give my opinion in a minute. But it is, let me just come over here to the chat. Sierra Whiskey says, John will not stop with pushing the political aspects of all this. I don't follow his line of thinking. Neither do I. Jordan says, I just want to not be preached at. I want to read something to escape, not to be dragged down by the author's politics that I may or may not agree with. Fair point. Sierra Whiskey says, which is also not correct. I've backed tons of campaigns and still donated to support DNC. That's talking about the money is being pulled away from the Indiegogo revival, the indie revival, by having things like a GoFundMe for Richard. Let's see here. Pixel says, swear jar. And of course, Booster said, did I swear or was I ranting too hard to, that's not a very good Booster, or ranting too hard to notice you swore twice. Huh?
Bloody hell.
I like, I get a little hot.
The other thing I was thinking too, some of this is show. It's been proven that drama and controversy draw eyes. And so if you're going to start launching into calling people certain names or referring to certain people in a specific movement a certain way, you're drumming up political bias. You're drumming up those you're just hitting those war drums again. And we're here talking about it right now. It's getting eyes on this article. It's getting eyes on him. His name's in the news again.
Yep.
It's done for effect.
Well,
yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the Twitters. I didn't know anything about Renfamous until, people kept mentioning our name constantly over and over with it. the same thing with other creators and other people. It's like I didn't really know you guys until you started doing action that drummed up drama and controversy. And at that point, it's like, if you can't sell me your work without drama, is it really worth supporting you or supporting the opposition or who you're against with because of such items? I want to evaluate you based on your work and your merits, not because you rile my emotion ups to support you.
Absolutely. Hoth Rebel 86 says there are plenty of liberals or lefties like myself who don't want political comics. That's why I joined Comicsgate. Yeah, that we have people from all over the political spectrum here, which is why I think the article doesn't actually hits the base that he wanted it to. Jordan says, I want the characters in comic books to have diverse politics, but not have it take over the storytelling. We need comics that aren't biased politically, like Chester. Of course, as we know, Chester is biased. And Hoth Rebel says, "Amen, Tank." Let's see. John keeps trying to pull into the right-wing politics. It's his thing. Yeah, it is. You're right. You're right. Let me see. Come down here. Hoth Rebel says, actually, Comicsgate is the only community with conservatives where I have felt welcome. I've exchanged ideas with Comicsgaters from across the aisle, and we are all remain friends. True. I think there are lots of different politics here, and I guess I'll give my opinion right now. The thing with it is that a lot of us over here really aren't interested in politics at all. We literally just are sick and tired with the big three, or in actuality the comic book industry is doing. Same thing with TV and everything else. It's just they're pushing this agenda, and we're sick and tired of it, and we don't want that stuff. We want other things, and now we have some creators who agree and are making fun stuff that are apolitical, and that's what we want. Now, are there people in this community who love going on Twitter and banging heads and going to war with everybody? Yes, there are. Which brings up the point that I don't think this thing that is called Comicsgate is actually a single group of people. It is a multiple group of people. And what I have said before, and I think others on here said as well, these progressive SJW types, they are one group. And then there's the rest of us who are across all manner of actual diversity, who don't agree with that kind of pushing politics on themselves. Even if they agree with it, they don't agree with pushing it and forcing it down people's throats. They just want comic books that are fun, and that's our little slice of this culture war that is going on. So the simple fact of the matter is, no, it isn't all political. No, everybody is not political. No, it doesn't affect the money. You put your money where you want to. Now, do some of us sometimes back things politically? Sure, but other times we don't. You can't put things into a little bubble like that and then expect it to be true, because it's not. I like John. I've had several conversations with him. I like him, but I do not agree with him on that point at all. But maybe Pixel's right. Maybe he's just doing it to get his name back in the press. I'm not sure. But that's my take on it. Now, does anybody have anything else they want to add to that, or do we want to move on to our IndieCron segment?
Let's move on to the IndieCron segment. I think we said everything we needed to say.
No, I think so too. All right. But that's that, So here we go. Now we're talking about IndieCron, and have some fun with this. And of course, Pixel, why don't you tell us what's going on over there with your IndieCron, sir?
I tell you what, we've had a couple campaigns hit the site in the last couple days that look pretty interesting. One of which, let me scroll down here really quick. Actually, I'll step back even a little bit further. There's one called the Galactic Comic that has been around for a little while, but they're wrapping up in a few days, so I'd like to give them a little bit of an eyeball here.
All right, you just tell me which one is it? Galactic what?
They're 28 something right now. So
the Galactic Comet, this one. Okay.
Yeah. I've got a feeling they may not fund, but they are a flexible goal, so it's possible that they'll still be able to do something with the project. This guy's a really nice guy. He was trying to build a book basically for his kids and for kids to read, and so it's really interesting how he's worked on it. But if you scroll down and take a look at the artwork, it's actually 3D.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Yeah, and so he's built out all these different scenes and rendered everything out to tell a story with these 3D characters.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a different format than we've seen in any of the other books that have been out. So I thought I'd kind of give them a shout out really quick and just say, hey, this is kind of fun. It reminds me a little bit of the art style from like Jimmy Neutron or something like that.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool, man. It's kind of like what I saw Model 3 doing on the Jordan Quartered Fan Edition. That was really, really neat what he was doing with that.
Yeah. And the kind of cool thing about this too is that once he creates all the models and stuff, he can knock out a book a lot faster. He just has to build the environments, and that takes the longest amount of time.
Oh, look at
but,
that. That's a nice
yeah,
picture.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
showing
the
that was really
process. Neat. Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah. Other books that hit recently, there was one called Stitchwalker that actually just hit last night. That's all the way down at the bottom.
Okay.
And I don't know much about this one yet. I glanced through it really quickly. It was like 2:00 in the morning my time when I added them to the site, so I was a little out of it. But the artwork looks solid. Actually, really good when you get down a little bit further. The painted thing at the top, I was like, okay, that looks all right. But once you start seeing the artwork a bit further down, it's got some teeth to it.
Oh wow, look at that. That is nice.
Yeah, I think this could be a really interesting project. I'm curious to see if they're like further down. They actually have colors, which I'm not as impressed with. I'd almost like to see them either get a different colorist or stick with the black and white style.
Oh wow, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I was talking with Tank about that yesterday, about how color can make or break it. It's hard to add it in. What do you think about this here, Tank?
I like it. I like it with the color. The black and white is also, the sepia tone is also really nice.
Yeah, I like it.
It really all depends on what's the atmosphere of the story you're trying to tell. Are you trying to tell this like dirty noir, or are you trying to tell this colorful adventure?
Your art has a kind of a similar theme to this a little bit. It feels a little like yours. With the I don't know. I just don't. This first thing came to my head. It feels a little bit like your style. What do you think?
Yeah, I do appreciate. Oh, I like this kind of heavy metal kind of style. I like I like it when somebody gets crazy with the art.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, it's gonna
got quite a few pages here for people to see, so
it's a good looking page.
Worth checking out. I think what's up?
No, I said it's a good looking page.
Yeah. And some of the other pages look pretty good colored. I think there's just a couple in here where they could probably dial back the or change the lettering, because they've got red letters over stuff that's really difficult to read right here, and then the outlines are red, and then the guy's suit's red. It just all kind of blurs together, and it's a little difficult to read.
I don't like the coloring at all.
Yeah,
I like the sepia. This up here, I think this looks great. I love this, but I don't like this color at all. Now, of course, we have Tank on here as an amazing artist. If you hadn't seen his stuff, go check that out. He'll give you his links later. But of course, we have another amazing artist with us, Booster. What do you say? What's your critique, seeing as you are the master artist yourself?
Yeah. It's all right, I suppose.
Thanks, Booster. What do you think?
No, it looks pretty great. A lot of these colors are very overpowering. I found, got like, what is it, purples, greens, reds, all sticking out. It's a bit much for me. But,
yeah, I don't like the color. Do you like the color of the Booster? Do you like this style of coloring?
No, I think it's a bit much.
What about you, Janelli? What do you think about the colors here? Because I think we all agree this right here looks awesome.
But no, the artwork's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like in the 70s where, they went from black and white to color TV, and everything was, or maybe more the 60s where everything's so bright and so saturated with color that it kind of looks tacky. I think this one they would need to revise and redo it a little bit and maybe change some of the colors. Kind of like dealing with white and bright colors, it kind of blends together, like Pixel and Tank Fair was saying. And Aloha Model 3 and Pencil for Life.
Hey guys. Hey, Pencil for Life. How you doing? And Model 3. I was just talking about Model 3. Welcome here, sir. And Pencil for Life 2, another great artist. Brad, he's puts in some great fan edition art over there. Love his stuff, man. But yeah, no, okay. Let's move on to the next one. But I like it. I just really think, and this is interesting. It shows you coloring is not easy. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
it's hard, man.
Yeah, that first colored page in particular, I think there were a lot of things that are probably in work. I don't think those are the finals, hopefully, because it looked really flat still. And then the lettering could have had quite a bit of extra work done to it to make it a little bit cleaner, change the font up a little bit or something. Also on here, we just had, let's see, Johnny Phantasm, which is also in the twos, I think. Hold on. Yeah, 2015. There you go, you just passed it.
Oh, this one. Wow, that
Yeah.
popped up there, huh?
Yeah, we talked about this the other
We did.
day.
Yeah. So this one just came in a couple days ago too. So there's been some new books hitting it. This one actually has some pretty interesting, fun colors on it too. It's the artwork's interesting too because it's more of like this kind of cartoony-ish feel to it, but it's a very
there's a
serious, dynamic story to it. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to play it all off, and especially going for that kind of noir sci-fi ghost story kind of thing.
Not so much the coloring, but the art kind of reminds me of Crimson by what's the artist's name?
Oh, Ramos.
Ramos, yeah.
Humberto.
Humberto Ramos, yeah. So it kind of reminds me of that art style.
Yeah, I get a little bit of that.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
But it only matters. The only thing that matters, though, is if Booster likes it.
No, it actually looks great. I really like this more cartoony, stylized type of artwork. That's more my kind of thing.
Yeah, it's bloody, too. But, I thought it was interesting. We looked at it yesterday.
I don't know how our Pope Fire would feel about the opening death of the Pope.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's not tell her.
Well, so long it's not Starfire, I don't think she cares. Would care that much. Moving on. Let me see.
Oh, what else we got?
One thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I really, really like about Johnny Phantasm, about the artwork, is that it conveys the story cleanly, real nice. Like, you don't even have to read any words on those pages or the pictures to get a feel for what's happening in the scene. And that's something that a lot of artists really should pay attention to.
Yeah, very strong storytelling.
And it is interesting too that we have. I'm really happy to see T-Bird and Throttle starting to pick up some. Boy, I don't know if they're going to make it. I hope they do. I love the look of that book. But one thing.
Do they still get the money if they don't make the goal?
Is this closed or is this a fixed goal?
You'll have to see if it's flexible or not. I'm not sure.
Would that tell us in the? Would that tell us somewhere?
Yeah.
On the page itself, it should.
Yeah,
they are a fixed goal, so they need to hit their goal. They're about 4K up.
Oh crap!
I love the look of this one. I mean, I've showed it enough. I'm not going to do it again, but I really love this one. I hope it makes it. I really do. But I think it's interesting because we were talking about there's so many new things coming out, and they're glutting the market. Are they going to be able to make any money? But they seem to be. If people like it, they do. We have Gary Shipman has come up. He's dropped $6,000, and he's going to pick up a few more grand on that as well on the last couple of days, I'm sure. We have this Earthbound comic, which I don't know anything about it, but that's jumped right up there. Look at that.
I love the look of this one's artwork.
The Earthbound?
Yeah. It looks simplistic at first, but it's really got like this movement to it. I can't quite explain it, but it's just naturally animated.
It looks almost rotoscoped. That's interesting. It is. They do movement well. I don't know if I like this style art. It is a style though. But it's interesting. But hey, they're making. They got. They got people interested too. $6,000. Nice.
Yeah, I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it definitely has an animation feel to it. You can, especially there's that one scene where they're having the dart war in the living room. You can see that one kid's leg is stretched out. You have the fisheye kind of effect happening. That's definitely something you pick up from Japanese animation.
They love that over here.
Mm-hmm.
What's this?
I absolutely loved it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I should
Lair.
go back to that one. All right. You want me to go back to that one? Earthbound? Let's go back. Now, so you like this Arcel tank?
I did. I love the inference of motion in this style. Occasionally I stumble upon an anime or manga that has a similar style to this, and it's fun. It's fun, and that's, comics should be fun. This is a comic that takes itself seriously but doesn't at the same time. I give this a seal of approval on the quality of art.
It does have great motion to it, and that is important. Now you talk about this this Nerf dart war they have going on. Oh, I see. You're talking about this leg right here, Pixel.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see the curvature of the room too, the couch and stuff. They completely skewed the view with the, more like a warped effect there, and it's pretty sweet.
So it looks more like storyboard drawings, kind of like how they have to do it. Kind of like, this is how I want the camera to move, and they're able to convey that with the askew view.
Yep. Well, I do have a couple comments over here. Sierra Whiskey says, Booster with that in-depth analysis. Yes, that's why he's here. He is the pro.
I bring the hottest of text, lads.
Yeah. A couple other things going on. You guys are just basically interacting with yourself and such. But anyway, okay, guys. I think we want to keep coming every day. Come back here to IndieCon and look at these books and talk more in depth with them. We might even want to do a show where that's all we do. Just really look at them and break them apart, especially with the fact that we have people with writing experience here. We have we have artists. We have people that can actually look at them and break them down. We might want to do more of that, huh? But all right, I'd say that's probably enough for today, unless you guys have something you really want to cover.
Nah, I'm good.
Oh,
we're good.
All right. So let's come over here and let me stop that and stop that. And all right, let's go down the line and have everybody just give your contact information, and we'll start with Booster. So Booster, where can everybody find you, man?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at King Booster Boy, boy being BOI. I'm actually starting to get followers. I don't bloody post anything on it, but I'm getting followers. So hooray.
Sweet. Yeah, that's how I found out about it, YouTube. So I had a notification saying you have a new subscriber to your channel. I was like, I have a channel? I had no idea that YouTube just automatically gave you one. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. All right, man. Denali, tell everybody where they can find you, man.
You can find me on Twitter at Denali101, and you can find me on Fanspeak, the Facebook page where I'm posting up news for the day as well. And usually my comment for the outro is, perception is your reality, and you're the one that you're able to shape it. So make it a good one.
Sweet.
Namaste.
Namaste. Pixel, where can we find you, man?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, pretty much anywhere. I think it's going to be /PixelTrader. I'm all over the place. I'm on many of the videos here each day, every week. I don't know, 2-3 times. Depends on what my schedule looks like. But I'm also part of the crew for Drawn and Quartered Fan Edition, which comes out on this channel and other channels throughout the week. Actually, I think we're not going to do it this week, though, right? I think that's what we've decided on. But it's a drawing competition that follows along with Mike Miller's show. We use the same topics they do. And if you happen to win our show, you get to go on the live show with them. So it's a nice little prize to get there. So you can look that up at Twitter /DNQFE if you want to DM us and ask to be on the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a great show. I love that. It's so much fun seeing that. And of course, with us, we have that prize where if you win the fan edition, you get to go sit with the pros and compete against them. And congratulations to our last fan edition winner, Jake, who did a great job with Skeletor. And he's going to be over there with Mike and them this week. So it's going to be really cool. Yeah, very talented kid.
He's gonna get big, let me tell you.
And that's going to be Thursday at 10 p.m.
Yeah, Mike.
Pixel?
Mike. That's
On Mike's channel.
on
Yeah.
Mike's channel. Yeah, this week.
From what I understand, yeah, it's going to be on Mike's channel.
Yeah, and this week with us, because of the scheduling issues Mike had, and the fact that we have our Halloween show on the 31st, probably what we'll do is get a few artists in here, maybe even Tank here will join us, be so gracious to join us, and have them do some just special art in the background as we're doing stuff. So. Yeah, look forward to that. Definitely joining us that. But of course, tomorrow we have Bugbear's Basement, and we will be doing Animal Man, and we'll talk more about that then. Tank, why don't you go ahead and tell them where they can find you, man?
You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at Tank Ferret Art. You can also find me here on YouTube at Tank Ferret. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. I don't have any content up, but when I do my inaugural live stream, I will be having a massive giveaway. Prizes.
Sweet.
And thank you for having me on, Chester.
Oh,
How do you survive on Tumblr? That was like the bloody belly of the beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So-
we'll certainly, Tank. Absolutely happy to have you here, man. And as far as you down there saying no fan edition this week, no fan edition. No, but Mike switched over the scheduling, and there was some weird stuff going on this week, and we have our Halloween show. But like I said, we're gonna want to have some artists come on and join us while we're doing the raffle giveaway for Comics Titan fundraiser, and while we're doing the straw poll for the art contest. We're planning on talking to a few of the artists, including you, that are asking these questions, like Pencil for Life and Tank and Cat, and having you guys come on and do some special Halloween stuff while we're doing that. So we're going to have something. It's just not going to be normal this week, but next week we'll get back to our normal scheduling and stuff on that. And we'll let you all know and keep you up to date on that. But thank you all very much. Don't forget to join us tomorrow, but at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are doing something pretty much almost every day. I mean, there's hardly a day we miss. So always remember to come back and join us at that time. And yeah, thank you guys very much, and we will see you later.
Aloha.
Okay, bye.
Ciao.